And the fruits of the Spirit, of course, are our theme for the entire year. Now, Paul first coined this phrase, the fruits of the Spirit, in his letter to the Galatians. And he wrote to the Galatians to encourage them to remain steadfast in what he had taught them. There were some Jewish Christians who were teaching that the Gentiles would have to become Jewish in order to be Christian. And Paul totally disagreed with that because he said no one, including himself, who had been a Pharisee, could ever keep the law completely. Salvation came through Christ alone. And then he writes, by contrast, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against such things. The first fruit then is love, that self-emptying, self-giving love that reflects the very nature and the very essence of God. And here in our gospel reading today, we have a story of God's love showered upon two daughters. Now, the first daughter was 12 years of age at the time of the story. She was the daughter of Jairus, one of the leaders of the synagogue in Capernaum. Now, this daughter grew up in a home of wealth and probably privilege. We know this because we know that all the leaders in the Jewish synagogues that were scattered across the Roman Empire were chosen on the basis of their wealth and their generosity, as well as their strict adherence to the Mosaic law. They were very devout Jews, often Pharisees, who were patrons of the synagogue. That is, their wealth was given over to keep up the building and to make sure it was clean, and also to buy the books of the law and the prophets that were used during Sabbath worship. Now, these books were actually very large, ornate scrolls, and they were kept in a very secure place within the synagogue. They were costly, so usually there was only one set per synagogue, and the synagogue considered itself fortunate if they had all of the books of the law and all of the books of the prophets, the major and minor prophets. So not only were synagogue leaders by definition devout and wealthy, they used their wealth to benefit the entire community. And the synagogue leader would also provide hospitality to traveling rabbis, opening his home and providing the very best food and accommodation that the community had to offer. So this daughter probably listened in to many discussions held between her father, the community elders, and the traveling rabbis who had passed through Capernaum. Now, the second daughter was older. She had reached adulthood. We don't know anything about her family. We don't know who her parents were, who her husband was, or if she had any children. But we do know that during the last 12 years of her life, she had lived the life of the walking dead. Due to her condition, she was considered permanently unclean. According to the dictates of the law set out in Leviticus chapter 15, when a woman has a discharge of blood for many days at a time other than a monthly period, or has a discharge that continues between her periods, she will be unclean as long as she has the discharge, just as in the days of her period. Any bed she lies on while her discharge continues will be unclean, as is her bed during her monthly period. And anything she sits on will be unclean, as during her period. Whoever touches her will be unclean. He must wash his clothes and bathe with water, and will be unclean till evening. That means that she had not been able to attend the synagogue or participate in any normal social activities for 12 years, for fear of making those around her unclean by accidentally